Hey, this is Coach Deanna with another episode of the Winning Element podcast, The Athlete's Journey. Today we are on the journey with Tony B. Easley. Tony is a professional basketball player and founder of The Leveraged. In this episode, we talk to Tony about his experience playing professional basketball overseas for many countries and many teams. We also talk about the momentum and the energy of dunking and the concept of ball is life. Stay tuned for a fun conversation and a lot of cool stories. This podcast is brought to you by the mushroom elixirs at foursigmatic.com. Studies are popping up everywhere showing the efficacy and medicinal qualities in various mushrooms. Now, medicinal mushrooms are shown to be immunomodulators, meaning they help to regulate your immune system. And we're in the part of the year where people are still getting sick or they're tending to do a little bit more travel. So make sure that you set yourself up for success and give your body the raw materials it needs to defend itself from fatigue and illness. Four Sigmatic makes delicious mushroom coffees, teas, and even hot chocolate. I love Four Sigmatic because it tastes great and it's nutritional insurance for my body. I'm telling you that adding mushroom coffee to your morning protein shake is a game changer. It's pretty much the best part of my morning and something that I look forward to every single day. Go over to foursigmatic.com and get 15% off your mushroom elixirs by using the code word Deanna, D-E-A-N-N-A. As always, you can access show notes, the special offer for the Gold Edition, and our product highlight at www.BeTheWinningElement.com/podcast008. I hope you enjoy this episode with Tony B. Easley. Let's go. Please welcome to the Winning Element professional basketball player, future dad, and founder of The Leveraged, Tony B. Easley. Tony, my man. What's going on? How are you? And what part of the world are you in now?
I'm great. I'm in Cluj-Napoca, Transylvania or Romania, small central town in Romania. That's all I can say. Or Transylvania. I don't know which one. The kind of history behind it's kind of weird, so I don't know which one to say, Transylvania or Romania. I say Transylvania because it sounds cooler.
Yeah, it sounds way cooler. I went on Google Maps last night because I needed to double check. I was like, Transylvania. I'm pretty sure that's someplace across the, obviously it's overseas. And I was looking, I was like, I can't put my finger on it. And I was like, oh, Romania. Okay, that makes sense. Yes, absolutely. And it's been about 5, maybe 6 months since we've seen each other. I know that we had the opportunity to hang out, have a delicious dinner, and hang out with your beautiful, talented, and very awesome wife. And I know that was really cool that we were both in Nashville and able to connect. And at that time, I think you were weighing a bunch of contracts.
I was. We had a few on the table at that point in time.
Yeah, and it looks and I know that I follow you on social media and everything, but I wasn't necessarily, and I was pretty sure you ended up in Transylvania because it's across Jersey.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I wonder where he ended up for sure. So Transylvania, Romania, it is. So you've been there since September or August?
Right at the end of August, we arrived, or I arrived, I should say, and then Joanna got here a little bit, probably mid-September.
As far as culture is going, what's the culture like? What's it like in Transylvania, and how does that differ from where you were before?
Culture-wise, the people are they're very hospitable. Coming from the South, Southern hospitality is a real thing. I guess most people pride themselves on that. So for me to have traveled the world and to have gotten the same treatment in a lot of these countries that I've been in, it's comforting. So for me to come here and still have that same hospitality that I'm used to is huge. Very, very warm people, welcoming, super welcoming. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Italy in a sense because, they will bring you over for a meal, make sure you're cooked, just like having those grandmothers, in the home.
Like almost forcing you to come in. They're like, no, you're coming in. We're not taking no for an answer. We're feeding you until we don't have any more food.
Yes. Someone eat until you just you can even sleep here if you want to. Just come in and just have this time with us. So, but very welcoming people. The culture here is a mix of a lot of things. just because of the history of the country itself, they were taken over by so many different places, and they kind of one country was coming in, one was going out, so they kind of left their marks within this culture itself. So it's so much. There's a little bit of Italian here, there's a little French here, there's a little bit of it's just a little Hungarian over here. It's a little bit of mix of a little bit of everything. So it's a melting pot of things, but it's cool to see how all of that coincides in one place. And you have Romania. It's cool. It really is different, but it's a nice place.
Ah, beautiful. And as far as competing, is the league that you're in now, are you traveling a lot outside of the country, or is it mainly within Romania? Or do you have a lot of people just
Mainly,
flying in to to compete against you guys?
no. Well, at the beginning, we were in this thing called FIBA Cup. FIBA Cup is where you are playing multiple teams in different countries throughout Europe.
Okay.
Um, and it's technically like an NCAA type tournament where you have these games and you're just playing to qualify, or. So we didn't make the qualifying round because of, I want to say, a few points, maybe 4 or 5 point difference. So it kind of sucked because we didn't we were right there, um, but we didn't make it. But it was a fun experience. And then now we're staying and playing only here in Romania.
Do you have a big following there? Not necessarily you, but the team is. Are you guys
Yeah,
getting a lot of people? And here in the States, basketball is probably the second, or maybe third. It's in the top three, right?
yeah, yeah,
So you have NFL, NBA, and of course you have soccer, right?
yeah.
But so, and we have FIFA and soccer. But in terms of here in the States, basketball and NBA is pretty big. Are you finding that there's that same exuberance for the sport of basketball in Romania or abroad? Or is it, are people coming out? What's the weather like? Is it tough to come out to a game? Is it cold?
No, no, it is. It is here. In Europe in general, they have a passion for sports.
Mm.
I like to say sometimes that we in the United States, we like sports, and over here they love it. I mean, to the point to where, I mean, they rep their colors. I mean, you'll see people wearing, team colors, and it's just because I played in Italy for a lot of years, so seeing that culture compared to other ones is different. But here in Romania, they kind of have the same similarities. This team that I'm playing on now, huge following. I mean, they have a history all the way to, I want to say, or at least they started in 1919 with this team or this club itself.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
so yeah, so since then they've had their foot in this league and the foot in this in the sports, I say, industry here in Romania, because they also have a soccer club here, that's pretty good also. So just the program itself has a huge following, and it's incredible. Some of these games,
That's a
just to see the
blessing. That's so
fans,
cool.
it really is. It really is.
And to speak to that, I was on your Instagram yesterday and I was seeing this massive dunk from like 3 days. Like you had 3 or 4 different angles on this, and it was so dope. It was so dope. And for the people who are listening, Tony's ginormous. Like he's not 6'5". He's not
Yeah,
6'6". This man is 6'9". You are a
yeah.
beast. You are a beast on the court, and you have this. And I want to talk about this because this is one of my favorite parts about who you are, and I have the benefit of having this relationship with you for the last probably like year, maybe year and a half,
Hmm.
and we've
Yeah.
had multiple conversations. So when I see pictures of you, I just see that radiance, like and like your personality shine. But even when we connected, I remember scrolling through and seeing your pictures and just like the amount of vibrance and energy and just like passion and joy that your smile and just your presence, you have this presence about you. And I was showing one of my friends last night, and I was like, this is who I'm talking to tomorrow. I'm so excited. And you have this joy about you and this presence, and I think that's one of the gifts that you give everybody who gets a chance to watch you play and just interact with you, because you do have this presence and this joy. And you are a beast on the court. You're
I
six
try.
nine. You're 6'9".
I try. I'm a thin frame. I have a very thin frame, but I'm tall.
You are a lanky man. How long have you been that height? Because I know it at five at 5'10", or I was 5'10" when I was 11, and then I gained like an extra 3 inches, so I was like capping out at 6'1" when I was 16.
hmm
So I would imagine for you that you've always had that bean sprout. So how what's the timeline of your
Of the
height?
height. Yeah. Weirdly enough, when I played seventh grade basketball. In seventh grade, I had a seventh, eighth, I should say. I was around like 5'10", 5'11" ish. I wasn't tall. I was a three man. I was a small forward. I wasn't really in the post. I wasn't really good. I was asthmatic. I was just out there, just running around trying to figure out the foundation or the fundamentals of basketball. Going into my ninth grade year, the summer going to my ninth grade year, I sprouted up to like 6'4".
Get out of here. That is a
I,
lot.
I sprouted. I mean, like sprouted up. It was so weird. It's funny, but it's funny because I was a Boy Scout, and up until that point, like my uniform would fit me. The uniform was a normal size. But once I sprouted, like the shorts went from like regular cargo shorts to like boxer brief length. Like
No
they were
way.
so short on me, it was just like, what in the world just happened? So it was a tough time because I had like all the growing pains. So it was,
Were you
the
just
knees were hurting.
that
Yeah,
aching? Oh,
all the time. I was like a baby giraffe. Like I was just uncoordinated. Like my knees knocked. It was an odd time in my life. But I hit like 6'4". Um, Going into my 10th, 11th grade. Got to like 6'6". By the time I finished high school, like 6'7". They kind of gave you 6'8" on the
yeah,
roster.
yeah. +2
Uh,
always on a
yeah,
roster.
yeah,
Yeah, I
always.
was 6'3". I was six
Yeah,
three on a roster.
they give you a few. And then in college, I tapped out like 6'9", and I've been in the clouds ever since then. So
Yeah,
that's it.
giraffe is right.
Yeah, yeah. A baby giraffe to a grown to like Jeffrey the giraffe now. You know what I mean?
Bringing joy to all the kids.
All the kids. I'm a Toys R Us kid till I die.
Oh my god. So when was the first time that you actually were able to dunk on a standard basketball hoop?
Uh, it would probably be the summer after my ninth grade, going to my 10th grade year. In the summertime, we have this thing called team camp, and all the high school teams have team camps. So we had one in Auburn. We would go to Auburn University to play different teams from the surrounding counties. But before then, we would have these weeks of workouts that we would do weights and training and all these things. So after the trainings, we would always stay to everyone's trying to dunk the ball at the very end of practice and show the people that we can dunk. So
All the
one day,
ladies.
yeah,
Yeah, come on.
we're just trying to show off.
Hmm.
So yeah, one evening I actually dunked it. To surprise myself, to tell you the truth. It wasn't anything special. It was just kind of a one arm, just
Like
kind
I
of
got
threw it
it.
in there. Yeah, yeah, it's like, okay, I can do it now. And since then, it's just we've been
You've been
continuing.
dunking on people ever
Yeah,
since.
since then, there's been a slew of dunks since that day. But yeah, so it had to be that summer. That was the summer where I knew I actually, well, I figured out that I could dunk the ball.
That's really cool. Do you have like an internal quota for dunking? Or like you're like, I gotta get one a game, or like you're like five a game. That's like minimum. Like no
Nah,
questions asked. I gotta do. Or is it just like it just naturally happens? Or if it happens, it happens. Is it something that you like? When you play like NBA Jam, you ever play NBA Jam growing
yeah,
up?
yeah,
we're
yeah,
both we're both a similar age, so when you play NBA Jam and you're going down your character or your avatar is going down the court, right, and you take off and you do whatever code you're supposed to do, and then you almost see that power bar where you're like, what, and then you have like the glass breaking one,
yeah.
you like the shake and the glass
Yes,
break, and then
yes.
you have the one that's you can do the more finesse
Yeah,
dunks,
finesse dunks.
but
Yeah.
is that something in real life that you feel like where you're like, and breaking glass? Have you have
Um,
you ever broke a backboard yet?
yes, I broke one. The actual backboard didn't like shatter or anything, but the rim itself kind of snapped and broke down. I was playing in Venice, and we had to delay a game, and I was actually ecstatic about that one because I didn't think that I would ever snap a backboard. Yeah, I mean, I'm soaking wet. Still the smallest guy on every team, so I was like, this is a big day for me. But no, for me dunking is it's energy. Sometimes I feel like the game needs energy. I feel like with that play or with that dunk, I can bring a little more energy than just flying around or shooting shots. And it's my favorite. It's my favorite way to score the ball. It brings that excitement into the gym. So I don't really have a moment where I'm thinking like, okay, go dunk this one. It's just kind of if I'm around the rim, if I can get to it, dunk it. It's better than, I mean, it's a safer shot. I mean, layups can roll out, but
That's
dunks
true.
kind of
Like
go in every time. So
with
yeah,
authority. Like that's an authority. Like I am
yeah,
placing this ball in the net. My points. Thank you. Goodbye.
yes, yeah, and it's a stress reliever too in the game. Sometimes you get frustrated sometimes, and you could just dunk it and just scream and just say, okay, all right, let's go back on defense
Your
and play
dunk
defense.
faces are dope. Your dunk faces are amazing. They make me so happy. Every time I see it, I'm
Just
like, he is in his element. He is expressing everything in this. It's
just
always,
yeah,
it's really cool.
slam and scream.
Oh, I like that. I was thinking about your dunks yesterday, and I was thinking about momentum, that the momentum and the energy that play carries can be a game-changing moment, right? Where it's like
Definitely,
not only on the team but for the crowd.
definitely,
That
definitely, and
really brings that play is huge. Like that
yeah,
brings and if anybody's sitting back in their chairs and they're watching a game, they're like, all right, all right, come on, we got, all right, oh, missed another shot, oh man, okay, pass the ball,
yeah,
and then having that huge like like slam and scream like
slam and scream.
that's a huge moment for everybody, and that kind of that's how like life is, right? Like, or that life is this game of momentum, like
Hmm.
basketball. And I was thinking about volleyball, because volleyball is very much a game of momentum, that you get a monster block, or you hit somebody in the face, or you may, or even on the other side on the defense, if you dig a ball or just like get a ball up that's in a corner, or just like a crazy play, if like that, the momentum and the energy that brings to the team, to the fans, and just to the overall, and me as the official, the overall energy of the game, and that can make or break the game for some teams, that
Definitely,
energy, and just
definitely,
kind
and
of like throughout life.
yeah, no, definitely, and it can start the energy. That's the biggest thing. Like small plays like that, like a block or a dunk or a dig. Those plays are those plays that really can start your momentum, and momentum shifts games. Either you can shift in a good way, you can keep within basketball, momentum. You can come back off of momentum. You can keep a lead off of momentum. You can just the pure time frame of what you, or I guess the time in between when you start this energy, excitement of momentum that you have in this game from start to finish, that little time frame in between that game is everything for the players and the fans. It's a little bit more excitement to the game. It's a little bit more energy in the gymnasium, or in the football gym or football stadium, wherever you are. So that those little plays add into the energy of the whole sports experience of whatever sport you're playing, if whether it be basketball, volleyball, whether it be golf. I mean, some crazy golf plays, you get to hear the little soft clap gets a little bit louder,
The soft
you
clap
know,
getting loud.
so just that energy helps, and it just changes the experience altogether.
Absolutely. Can you believe that at some point the slam dunk was ever illegal? Like
That's crazy.
it's such a huge part. Like we couldn't at this point in our history really think in current basketball, look at basketball and say, "Oh yeah, dunking's not, it's not a thing."
Right.
Like if we
It's so
saw
odd to
if we
see that,
said, "Oh
right?
yeah, nobody does that. That's just not a play we do." You'd be like,
Right.
that's not basketball. Like
Yeah.
how is that not,
It's so odd.
a thing? Can you imagine? Like, I think the years, are 1967, because it was 1967 to 1976. The slam dunk was illegal.
That's crazy.
Isn't
That
that
is crazy.
crazy?
That is crazy. Like that was a game of layups and jump shots. And like I wonder where they got the momentum from during those games. You know what I mean? Like where did the energy come from?
I think it was the short shorts. that they got their momentum from the short shorts.
Could be. Yeah, I think that would. Yeah, a lot of legs showing out back there. That's what that was.
They
No,
had
I
Boy
mean
Scout shorts.
the Boy Scout
They
short.
had Boy
Yeah, the
Scouts.
boxer briefs out there. Yeah, I mean that's that. Playing just the way the game is now, and thinking about that, it's just so odd to think of a game without dunking. Without that type of I guess energy in that game. Whew, I couldn't imagine. I wish I could be there for the first dunk. Like I want to know what people was like. What just happened? Like what did he just do? Like did he just touch the rim?
Yeah.
Like what their
Whoa, it's a
face.
different game
Wait
now.
a minute, guys. Wait a minute. He did something else. We don't even know what this is yet. Like what was that reaction? But
Yeah.
fast forward to now, it is a different game. It is
Yeah.
a different game.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that it was ever illegal. Like, I don't think that that's something that a lot of people know, or just that during that time that that's a point in our past and
Yeah.
in the game of basketball that people either don't realize, especially younger. I think people who play kind of
Hmm.
know that it was a thing, but even basketball fans, like, that was ever illegal. I remember I learned that a couple of years ago,
Uh-huh.
and it blew my mind that would ever be a thing. And I think I was listening to a podcast about it, and they were talking about how, when you look at the time frame, that it was in a transitional part of the United States history, right? that
Hmm.
that there was a lot of racial tension,
Yeah.
and that there were racial undertones to that. And I'm not saying that that's 100% what it was, but there was definitely some
Yeah.
undertones in that
Right.
that was an interesting time in our history, and something to kind of learn from. And that it was even so it was called the Lou Alcindor rule, which most people know him now as, and know him forever as, Kareem
Yeah.
Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem.
That this rule was made for him, right? That
For him.
and I guess the language behind why it was illegal, what it was, like, spirit of the game, or I'm trying to think what they used that it was that it was like taking away from the game or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, no, like, this is
Wow.
what makes the game. This is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Taking away from the game. Yeah. I don't even. Yeah. That's what would it take away from the game?
What do you mean? It just added all this
Yeah.
energy. That's
Just
because not everybody in NCAA could do it.
yeah.
That's
Could
probably
do it.
why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's true.
and I'm glad to see that's since been removed, and we can see these huge plays, because it's a huge thing. For me, growing up, I grew up playing basketball. I started playing basketball when I was 5, and I played till when I was 16, when I transitioned to volleyball. And for me, I always wanted to dunk too. And we had one of the basketball hoops that you could do that lower
Oh yeah.
down, right? So so when I was
Yes.
so I was 8, 9, 10, and those basketballs like the ones that you can palm. I mean, I
Yeah.
know that you can palm a normal ball easily now, but as a kid, you go to the arcade, and you get enough tickets, and you get one of those, like,
Small.
the small
Yeah. Yeah.
balls
Yeah.
that you can easily palm. And I remember that I specifically asked for a basketball hoop that would be able to drop down, and my dad installed it, because he's super engineer guy, and always super crafty. But I asked for that, and I got this ball, and I was so excited to be able to dunk. And so like, I'm talking 8, 9, 10-year-old girl getting up, and just, on this baby,
Out there
on, like,
slamming.
and just getting up there. And my brother and I, we would we'd put on, like, we'd watch, like, Harlem Globetrotter stuff, or, like, my parents took us to one once, and they would tell us about all these different moves. So I'd be, like, doing dribbling drills, right, and between the legs. And then, when I saw the Kobe commercial, where he goes, where, for people who can't see this, you take the ball from in front of your face, and you put it behind your head, and then the ball
Oh,
goes through.
in your
Yeah,
leg.
the ball goes through the legs. And I remember I practiced these ball handling drills so that I could do it and then like get up and dunk. And and we had this huge backyard, so we'd run from all over the backyard. We'd like throw it on because the house was there, so we'd throw the ball against the wall to like alley oop to dunk. It was like
Oh
trick
yeah.
shot time. And then we'd get up and dunk. And then my brother and I, we'd do these elaborate dunk shows, and we'd be like, Mom, Dad, come and check out our dunk show. And then they'd come outside and we'd make them watch us do these dunks. And then
That is great. Oh, that is great.
Is that something that you did too?
No, I wish that I could have done all of that. No, I had a goal outside. Like I don't think I got my goal until I was maybe my 8th grade year, when I kind of actually started taking basketball kind of serious, in a sense that I was really kind of dedicated, I guess you could say I was. But I didn't have any concrete outside, so I had just sand and like grass. So I was just out there. Oh yeah. It was rough. So
you're like dribbling on grass where it hits one of the grass things and it just goes the other way.
Oh yeah, hit a rock or something. It was, we're just out there trying to play horse, and we're shooting air balls. But like the one thing we did lower the rim, and we did some crazy dunks out there. That was probably the fun part. We would put it all the way to the very bottom and just anything you can think of, just try it. So we did do that part. Yeah, we did that part. That was a fun part. But yeah, those were the good old days, man. Those were the good days. That was the fun part of basketball.
I know, right?
Lower the goal. Even now, as an adult, if I see a lowered basketball goal,
it's going down.
You just gotta try some stuff real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't pass up on that opportunity.
Oh no. And like even for me, it's like at my elementary school, the height, and they had that like the rusted like it was like the rusted ones, like the double thick, like no hoop or no net, right?
Yeah.
So even when you got that sick swish, like or you just hit that like the think, like getting up the side. Yeah, and then you say you're like, I don't want to swish because then I gotta run to go get the ball.
Gotta go get it.
Like I don't want
I gotta go get it again. If I hit nothing in the nets, it can't be nothing in the nets. There are no nets, so I have to go get my rebound from way over there.
Yeah, nothing but hoop. Nothing but air through the hoop. It was awesome. But I remember that I used to go down in there and play because they didn't have the 10-foot, they had the 8-foot. So like I was like, when I'm in before I leave 6th grade, I'm going to be able to touch that 8-foot. I'm going to be able to dunk. And like, I used to go down because I lived really close to my school. So I would go down there and I'd practice on that hoop so that I could look like a monster, so that I could go and do it at the school and, be cool or whatever and play with the boys. Cause I used to play with the boys all the time. But oh my God. Yeah. Oh, and there was one rim. There was like in the very back, one rim that was bent a little bit. So it was like half of it was at 7, half of it was at 8. So I was like, if I could just dunk on the 7, I could get up and get on the 8.
I'll work my way to the 8. I'll level up after a while.
And even now, obviously, like I got a little bit of hop. I can get up, so I can dunk on an 8, but I still can't touch that 10. Oh. I'm close, but I still can't touch that 10. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
One day you're going to get it. You're going to get it.
I think if I made it a goal, I would do it, but it's not a goal right now. Not a goal.
Not trying to slam on anybody anytime soon.
Nah, not anytime soon. I think before my life is over, I'll definitely make it a priority. Just like learning other language, like it's on the list of growth areas. Like dunk on somebody, or like have one of those dunks where you're so high up there that like you get somebody's face with either your butt or your crotch because you're like soaring over the top of somebody, and it's like this full aspect of domination, like it's physical domination. It's obviously athletic superiority because I just flew my body
Yeah.
into your face and I still scored on you. Like,
Right. Got my collarbone above the rim. Like that is, I'm up there. I'm flying. That is considered flying when you can get to that level of dunking. Oh my goodness.
do you have
That was
a
something.
worst and a best dunk story?
Uh, Best dunk story would be team camp. Once again, team camp was a very good time for me. I guess you could say I learned a lot during that time. It had to have been the summer going into my senior year. We were playing against a team out of Georgia. I can't remember maybe Jonesboro, I think. Um, in high school athletics, you have star ratings and all they kind of rate the high school talent. So they had a couple of high star guys. I can't even remember. In my team, we had literally no stars. We were just a bunch. I mean, we were a bunch of just athletic kids. But we had this one inbounds play that was it was an alley-oop play from out of bounds, and just this one game for some odd reason, like where my point guard threw the ball, he kind of threw it a little bit further back, and in my mind I was like, I can't get this one. There's no way I can get this one. But once I kind of palmed the ball, I was still able to graze the rim and dunk like over two guys, and it was just like, and I scared myself. So I'm looking like, oh my god, my team is going crazy, and I'm just sitting there, my eyes are big. I'm just like, oh, I just dunked this ball over two guys. And that's when the energy and the excitement goes up. But that had to be my best one, and that was high school. I've done a lot more dunking since then, but that one was probably the one that I was like, okay, yeah, that's a good one, Tony. Worst dunk? I don't think I have a worst one.
Or failed dunk.
A lot of those.
You got a lot of those.
You know, it comes with it. You're not gonna dunk all of them. Sometimes that rim comes out of nowhere, and you get stuck on that rim, and
You get the doink.
yeah, we call it Sprite remix. You get remixed real fast. You're thinking you're about to go in there and dunk it, and you just get hung and come right back. So I've had a few of those. Thankfully, not in the game. I've had not as many in the games, so that's a good one. But in practice, it happens. You kind of misjudge a little bit every now and then. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't think I have a worse one that I can think of off the top of my head. I've been dunked on a couple times. I think that's worse than having a bad dunk is just getting dunked on. I think as a
Really?
dunker, that's the worst one.
You're like,
Because you're used to
oh
doing it so much.
man,
Yeah, yeah. It's just like
I got
that hurt a
played.
bit. Yeah, yeah. That's yeah, yeah. Getting dunked on is probably worse than worst dunk for me.
I'll keep that
That's
in mind.
Yeah, it's probably getting worse. Yeah, that's worse.
I remember in junior high, we had a guy that he went. It was like during PE or something, and he went up to dunk, and it was like a two-handed from the front, right? So he went to dunk,
Uh-huh.
and as he made contact with the rim, he thought he had it, and he did not have it. Yeah. And he did the whoop whoop whoop. Like, yeah.
Oh,
And so yeah, and with the momentum, right? So he hung and then swung and then dropped on his head.
oh,
And he
yeah.
got a really nasty concussion, and like, that was a really scary day cuz
Oh, yeah.
like all I and
It can happen.
I saw it. I saw it, and it was gnarly. It was a really
It,
bad one, and like, I don't think they told us because it was kind of a big thing. Everybody knew, like, what happened to James, and we found out he was okay, but it was a couple of days before he came back to school, and I mean, he suffered a pretty gnarly concussion. I don't think
oof.
he didn't play for a little while, just cause, and it was like during basketball season too, and he was a really talented player. But I
Yeah.
remember that concussion was
It happened to
soon,
you.
like
That
dunk
momentum.
fail, like dunk
Yeah.
fail, and there was a lot of ladies in there. I think he had a girlfriend in that, so it was like it
Oh,
was a time. Thank God it wasn't, and it was blacktop. It wasn't even in a gym.
that's the
This
worst.
guy, blacktop
Oh,
on the back of your head.
that's the worst. That is the worst feeling. That feeling of falling and there's no way to stop
Like,
yourself. Yeah, yeah. When you're looking at the rim, straight on, and then all of a sudden you're looking at the bottom of the rim falling down. That is the worst. That's the worst thing in the world right there. That's scary. That is a scary thing. I've never fell on blacktop before. Like that. That is any time that I even came close to falling on a blacktop, it was always a tuck and roll. You had to kind of just get real tense and try to
Yeah.
roll on some side. So I would try to dodge any really hard impact, but I've never fell backwards. Like, oh my goodness, I couldn't even imagine that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
oh
nasty. Um,
yeah. Oh my goodness.
so growing up, I guess we'll do a rewind, but growing up, did you always want to be a professional basketball player? And let's dive into your athlete journey. Let's talk about your superhero origin story. Where did you
The
humble beginnings in the South?
humble beginnings. Um, I oddly enough, professional basketball wasn't the first, I guess you could say, career path. Speaking of superheroes, I grew up. I was a kid. I had a very, very big imagination as a kid. So my first job of choice was a Power Ranger. Let's just get that out there.
What color you want to be?
The White Ranger, man. He was just, or green. He would always
Oh
change
yeah,
every
yeah, yeah,
year.
yeah.
So he was
What was his
always the
name?
wild
Tommy.
card.
Tommy.
Tommy, yeah,
Tommy,
yeah.
man.
He was the coolest one. Had a
Yeah, he
little
was.
whistle, the flute or whatever, man. He was the coolest one. They never work at night. Like Power Rangers was the coolest job ever at that age, I guess you can say. Um, but no, I wanted to be a teacher. Honestly, basketball for me, I didn't really have anyone to tell me that I was good at it, that I could be a professional, But all the teachers that I had a huge impact on me and molding me and shaping me into who I am today. So I wanted to be able to kind of give that back to the youth. So my goal was to be a teacher. That was the biggest thing for me to do. Like that's why I went to school. I finished in physical education. Like I want to get back to teaching. So then the opportunity to play professional basketball came about my senior year of college, and then I've been on this path since then. So yeah, teacher slash basketball player.
Wow.
Different.
I see that for you and from you. And I know that you do a fair amount of mentoring and teaching now. I know that that's a big part of your life, especially during when you come back and you're able to give back and do those camps. And I know that being a professional athlete isn't always going to be like that's not life, right? Like
Right.
that's a piece of it, but
Yeah.
being a mentor, being an educator, being a role model. And that's one of the things that I love about you the most is that I think you're an incredible role model for young men, young women, and you have that joy and that radiance inside of you, and that really and just everything that comes from you. You're such a positive dude. I love that about you. And
I try to be.
all the kids that get to interact with you, they are so blessed, and and I know that they have a great time.
Try to give this energy away. I try to. I have too much of it. I had to give it out.
Yeah, well, you got to share it, right?
You have to. You
Like
have
that's the
to.
point. Like that's part of the God-given gift that you
Definitely.
have, and being able to serve from your overflow and give back. When you were playing in college, did you guys do camps? Was that something that you were really passionate about, or was that more of something that you did after?
During. I've always been around to work camps. It's odd because when I grew up playing basketball, I didn't have the opportunity to go to these different camps.
Yeah.
I just kind of we didn't have the funds for that stuff. I didn't even know it was there. The opportunity was there for me. So once I realized and saw the impact that we had on the kids, just being there, just spending that time with them, um, it did something to me. I had an opportunity to in college, there's this thing called Athletes in Action, where you get to go across the pond. You get to go. I think that year was to go to Africa, I think, and you get to go kind of have an impact and kind of it's like a mission trip technically from college. Actually, I turned it down to stay on the campus to work Upper Bound, which is kind of it's like a summer camp for low income youths. I was an RA, I was a residential advisor for the kids. So I was still able to kind of have that impact and that mentorship with those kids. So I've always had that inside of me. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to have that connection with the kids and kind of help mold them because that was important for me. I am who I am now because of the teachers and the people in my life who kind of took that time to help mold and shape me and my future. So I want to give that back to it.
Are you really excited to get to do that for your own new baby boy.
I cannot wait.
I know you've got I think you said April 5th was due
Hmm.
date. And I know you guys announced a little bit later. And
Hmm.
so I think you announced maybe like a month ago or, so it was just a little while ago. And I was
Definitely.
so excited because if there is a man on this earth that is destined to be a daddy, it is you, Tony. It is
This,
like you are going to be such an incredible father. What are
uh,
you most excited about in terms of like building this family? And are you excited that, and obviously you want a healthy baby, but how excited are you that you get to raise a young man?
uh, it's the championship. I told you before, it's the championship. It is the one thing that I've been waiting for. Or at least in this season of my life, been waiting for. But I'm excited. Just being able to build that bond. I'm one of those guys to where I have I wasn't blessed with the actual real brother, but I have so many brothers just through basketball and through life, and the bond that we've had and built. I want to be able to do it with my son. I just to be able to be the big bro and the dad at the same time, like that for me, that's the best of both worlds. And being able to give that to my son. But just having that mini me right beside me at all times. I always wanted to be, that little kid that was always next to the big bro or to my dad, or so I want to be able to have him beside me and teach him so much and just fill him with the things that I didn't get or the things that I did get as a child. Yeah, and just to see him develop and see where he's going to go and kind of what's in his future, but be able to help mold him also. So I'm excited. I'm super excited about that.
Oh my
Super
gosh.
excited.
So I think it's a good time to find out. So obviously he's going to be born in Transylvania,
Mhm.
which is a pretty epic birth
Yeah,
story for him.
yeah,
I know we talked
yeah,
a little bit about names earlier. I know you were thinking Iron Man,
yeah.
maybe Thor,
Maybe Thor,
something
maybe
silver.
Hulk. You know, you know, maybe Hulk smash easily. I don't know. Yeah. Name wise, we don't know. I joke around with Joanna, my wife, about naming him Dracula or like Vlad.
Yes,
Like, Vlad
yes.
the Impaler. I joke, I joke around with her. But she's not on board for that one yet, so I think I need to kind of keep pushing it a little bit. But name wise, we don't know yet. But it's going to be interesting. He's going to have an interesting story to tell his friends. I know that much just from being born here in Romania or Transylvania. And kind of starting his first months of life here is going to be different. It's going to be a different story to tell when he gets older. So I'm excited about that.
That's really cool. So for you, you grew up playing basketball. You played in college. Where did you play in college?
Murray State, Murray,
Yeah.
Kentucky.
So you played in college, had the awesome opportunity to continue your career,
Hmm.
play overseas. Where have you played? Like, where have you bounced from since then? So like right out the gate, where did you go?
Okay, fresh out the gate, I went to Warsaw, Poland, the capital of Poland. I was there for a year.
Okay.
I left Warsaw and I went to Forlì, Italy, which is central Italy, like 20 minutes below Bologna. I stayed there for half of a season. I left there and went to Sassari, which is a city on the island of Sardinia, which is off the coast of Italy. So
Oh my
I was
gosh.
down there for a year and a half. I left there, went to Venice. I was in Venice for half of a season. I left there and went to Caserta, I went from North Italy to South Italy. So I was in Venice, then I went down to Caserta, which is near Naples. I left there. I went to Israel. I was in Nessiona, which is 15 to 20 minutes below Tel Aviv. That season was crazy because I played for three different teams in one season. So
No
I
way.
played, I played, and
So,
that was my first year. That was my first year of marriage and my like my first time outside of Italy. So I played in Israel. I was in Nessiona. I left there. I went to Turkey. I was in this team called Eskişehir, which was based in Istanbul. I stayed there for maybe a month, and then I left and went back to Italy to Pistoia, which is up in North Italy, close to Florence, like 20 minutes from Florence.
what made you bounce out?
Uh, the first one in Israel, it was the style of basketball. It started off, it suited me, then it changed. Just the coaching style, he wanted to
Mm,
change the team. I left there, went to Turkey, to Eskişehir. Eskişehir was a business situation where uh, a lot of times in professional basketball over here, a lot of people aren't on the same page. So our the GM and the actual president of the team never communicated.
Uh,
So the GM signed me as a player, but the president signed two other guys as players. So if you're the president, you're the money man. So you kind of have to go with his decisions before the GM. So I was kind of put on the back burner on accident. No hard
yeah.
feelings. It just kind of happened. So I left there, and then I went to Pistoia, which I was able to play and finish out the season there up in northern Italy, and I had a pretty good season there. So I left Pistoia and I went to Turkey. I went back, well, I should say back to Turkey with this team called Denizli. I was there for 2 months. I got hurt that season. So I came home. I rehabbed. In February, I went to Joensuu, Finland. I was in Finland for 3 months, 4 months. I left there and went to Rome for a year. I left Rome, went to Germany. I was in Germany in Tübingen for Tübingen is 20 minutes below Stuttgart. I left Tübingen and went to Treviglio, which is northern Italy, maybe 45 minutes from Milan. And then from Tübingen or from Treviglio, I'm here in Romania. So I've kind of traveled a lot, globetrotting.
It's
I'm
beautiful, man. And I knew that it was a lot, and I was like, I'm gonna make him I'm gonna make him say all of them. Because that's and all the while having your wife with you for most of it,
uh,
right?
for
Almost all
most
of
of
it.
well, this is my ninth year. She has been with me for four of them, four of the nine. So right when I went to Israel, from Israel to now, she's been with me. So it's been different. It's been honestly, being able to do it kind of by myself and see the world and kind of get this experience by myself, and then having her to experience it with me at the same time has made this whole career just that much sweeter. It's been awesome. It's been a different. They're both different dynamics, but it's cool. It's cool to see it or
I
to
would
live through, I
imagine
should
with
say.
age too, it gets different, right? So it's like right out the gate, like you still have your relationship and you're doing the distance thing and you're also traveling the world and pursuing a really cool dream and doing something that not a lot of people get to do in this
Yeah.
world or have the opportunity to do.
Right.
And you see the world and you're bouncing and you're learning about all these different cultures and getting to experience and really grow as a person and as a young man outside of the states. Like that's a really powerful process. And
Yes.
then you know getting towards this maturation and the maturation process and then having this really mature and really beautiful relationship because I've seen the way you guys interact and I love your wife. I want to hang out with her more. I want to fly over there just so that I mean I love you, want to hang out with you. I also love your wife and want to hang out with your wife. But you guys are such a cool couple and just being able to see the amount of love and commitment and just this really cool relationship that you guys have built and
Hmm.
and in the midst of being a professional basketball player traveling all over the world and just having this
Yeah.
adventure partner, right? And now
Yes.
having this other layer of bringing another human
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
world and doing that together and doing that on top of being a professional basketball
Yeah.
player traveling around the world. Is this are you going to continue traveling and playing? Is that the goal? Like what's the next year look like? And I know some of that's going to be fluid, right? So
Hmm.
and I know that you have the capacity to change every two
Yeah. Anything
months.
can anything can happen. Yeah, I can
Anything can
be
happen for
anywhere.
you.
um,
Everything
get,
happens for you.
every honestly. But yeah, I mean, the dynamic here is it really has been cool. This whole experience, especially I tell people all the time, like for me not to have even dreamed of doing this, but for this to be a little boy's dream and I'm living it, it's incredible to be able to live it with her. But the next couple of years, with having my child, like I want him to be able to experience this, even though he may or may not remember it, but just the living style, I say living status over here, just living in a different country and kind of having that influence your development as a child. Like the one thing I love about this city here is that they have so many different parks here. I mean,
uh,
this is a family town. They have parks. I mean, we have a huge river right outside of our apartment right here. They have a skateboard park. They have a monkey bars over here, a soccer field over here. So having him being able to just enjoy those things as a child, just the small things. I don't know for me growing up, I didn't really have as many parks to play in just as a
Hmm.
child. I would go outside and kind of, use my imaginations in terms of Power Ranger or Batman or somebody and have fun, but I didn't have this type of fun. So I want him to experience this as long as possible. So for me, just the next couple of years, playing to like maybe 33, 34, and then trying to get into coaching, trying to be able to get back towards that mentorship to where I'm able to give all of this experience and knowledge from the game to other young men and also the little one, hopefully he'll be 3 or 4. He'll be able to start dunking by that age.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's got some good genes. He's gonna have some
Yeah, he should
very
be athletic.
very athletic,
He should
and
be athletic.
and he's gonna grow up in so much love. And I think
Yeah.
that's part of it too. Is really, I think the culture, right? Like the
Hmm.
life that you're living right now. You're not doing the 9 to 5 or like
Yeah.
the 12-hour day. And not to
Right.
say that some days don't look like that for you, but your ability to be a father, your ability to
Mhm.
help in the raising process, and also for your wife, because she also works, and she works
Definitely.
from home, or
Right.
she works from overseas. I know
Yeah.
she has her position here in the States, but she does that remotely, and that's really cool, so that
Hmm.
you can still have the um the life that you've created so far, plus one,
Plus one. Yeah. And still keep it rolling. Yeah. Yeah.
and keep it going, and just like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna roll. All right, yeah, we're gonna do it. I don't
Yeah.
know where we're going next, but
Yeah.
I was
We'll be
curious if
somewhere.
there was going to be a halt, or if that was part of the family plan.
Yeah, no, just
Nope,
still
rolling.
going. Hopefully we'll find a different or a team or a club or a country that we'll be able to settle in. Like my biggest thing is, honestly, the plan was to settle in Italy. And just the way the good Lord works, He brought us to Romania. So, you know, I should say these last 3 years, 4 years of my career, I want to find somewhere I can just settle and really kind of become or immerse myself in a team or a club and can it really kind of build that family dynamic within the club also, kind of become that one pivotal piece of a club and kind of continue to build off of that. So that's the goal. That's the end goal, is just to find a team or a country to kind of set up shop in and then just finish it on out there.
Wow. So for you, is has that been one of the most challenging things about living overseas and playing overseas, is finding that home? Or was it more a strategy at the beginning where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna play, I'm gonna roll, I'm gonna find, I'm an adventure,
Hmm.
versus I want to find a home, I want to find a team, I want to find somewhere where I can invest my time and my energy and really
Hmm.
build a legacy, rather than, all right, well, I'm just, we're gonna go play and see how it goes. Because I would imagine, with
Yeah.
all of the different things that, and all the different teams, that there's a lot of complexity to coaching staff, team management, and then continuously bringing in new players.
Hmm. Uh, not re- well, the very beginning, and it's going to sound bad, but like the very beginning of playing professional basketball, it was about the salary. It's about who's going to pay the most, and it's kind of you kind of chase the check, as we say over here. But through so many different, I guess you could say, trap doors and kind of dead ends from chasing the check that I would run into, it kind of changed to finding a team that was more family oriented. I've always for me, I feel like during the season you become family no matter what. The game of basketball, it didn't start off as a business. It became a business, but the joy of the game is still
Yeah.
in the camaraderie amongst the team and the players and the staff. So I would always have the most success when I would find teams that were like families. So after that, I would look for those type teams where they had a family undertone or a family dynamic to where, they ate dinners together. Small things like that, just small things that you don't. Some of the big time clubs you don't really get those things. So I started looking for those in middle. I guess you could say now it's kind of the middle of my career. I would find those teams and I would stay with those teams a little bit longer. I would try to stay an extra year or two. I would have a 2 year contract instead of a 1 year contract. So now, towards the end of my career, which is family is everything for me right now, I would try to find one that was inclusive of all of that. That would be a family that would bring me in and would, you know, incorporate my family with their family to finish it out. But at the very beginning, it wasn't something that I looked for. But towards the end of the career, once it kind of shifted, that's those are the teams that you look for. Those are the type of programs that you should want to look for, I should say. And that's what we're searching for.
Would you say that that's a piece of advice that you give a lot of
Yes.
aspiring professional
Yes.
basketball players? And
Yes.
I know that when you go home, you still give time
Mm-hmm.
to your alma mater, and I know
Mm-hmm.
is that something that you try to impress upon them, that don't chase the check, or chase the check but know you're chasing the check, but
Yeah.
like have the awareness that you're chasing check, and like, hey, just know you can chase the check for a year, but you're probably not going to be as happy.
Yes. Yeah. I try to it's one of those things that some people have to go through. But my biggest thing is when you chasing the check. Like for me, when it comes to money, there's no amount that's going to make you happy.
Yeah.
That's just how it's numbers are unlimited. They're to infinity. So there's no amount that's going to make you happy. So if you continue to chase that through your whole career, you may end up with a buku amount of money, but you may have gone through so much stuff just to get that money. Where I want you to have the joy of playing basketball. Like this game is a joyous game. So I tell guys like chasing the check is great. Sometimes your situation you need it. I know some guys come out when I left college I needed it. I
Yeah.
just didn't have the income. But I also understand that that amount of money or those checks will they will hide certain things that happen within clubs. They will hide, kind of the bad side of the business, or they will ask you to do, or they will ask of you to do things that you don't want to do, or they may have teams that treat you like a product instead of a player. And that's my biggest thing. I don't want, I hate,
Ah.
I don't like when teams treat players like products. Some of these teams, they have a lot of money. They have a lot of money, so they can bring you in one day and they can kick you out the next day. You're a product for them. You're not a person. You're not a player. Like for me, as a player, I invest everything into this club. My energy, I come in. If you're sad, I'm going to try to make you happy. I may not even know who you are, but I'm investing that time with you. I'm giving you more than I'm asked to do, just besides coming to practice and playing in games. So I want people to understand that, find the clubs that treat you like people. You're not a product. You're a player. You're a person first. Go to those clubs and you'll enjoy that experience. Also, you'll still get compensated. You'll still get it, the money's still there for you. It's just about your happiness when it comes to basketball sometimes, or any sport professionally. And I choose happiness before the check nowadays. That's just me personally. But I try to preach that as much as possible to the ones who want to go down this path, because it's a dark road when it comes to money. Always, that's with anything. But also, it's a lighter path to when you understand what it can do for you and what to look for in these teams. So I try to preach that as much as possible.
Wow. That's a really great piece of advice. And I think that even that's even more universal outside of basketball. That
Yeah,
when we chase the check, or when people chase the check, there's a lot of things that we don't see,
yeah,
or pieces that we don't measure,
yeah,
or that
yeah.
aren't quantifiable.
At all.
But when we are in alignment with our joy, or with our passion, or with our purpose, or with
Mhm.
all of the, or our gifts, whatever,
Yeah,
when we really are aligned, that those things start to line up. And those things
definitely.
aren't mutually exclusive. You don't have to, you can get paid and you could be really happy
Yeah,
if you're in
definitely.
alignment, right? Like, you can
Yes,
have those things. You can absolutely have abundance
exactly.
in happiness. You can have financial abundance. You can have abundance in everything. And I think
Definitely.
that's one of the things that we see in the United States culture, that
Hmm.
you either work hard and sacrifice, and that was something that was modeled to me, is,
Hmm.
you know, my parents worked their butts off, and they still
Yeah,
do. They work their
definitely.
butts off, and they're hard
Definitely.
workers. And I learned, my brother and I have learned a lot from work ethic from
Hmm.
my dad, and there's that work hard, and you get what you work for, or
Hmm.
or or
Yeah, yeah,
you can only have one or the other, right?
yeah, yeah,
And that was something that, as I've grown up, and as I've matured myself, you start to see where those core beliefs are, or where
yeah,
they've been implanted, and you're like, wait
definitely.
a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I didn't choose that. I didn't choose that belief. That's something that was placed on me by society, by culture, by family. And I think that even you being outside of the country, Like you can start to see the cultural differences in
Yes.
financial abundance, or the cultural differences in what we prioritize as happiness, or the
Yes.
level of work that we do. In Romania, you were talking about that there are a lot of parks and there are a lot of people that are out there and spending
Hmm.
time. Is their work day different, or their work culture different than the United States in terms of like work hours or work days? I know overseas sometimes they'll do like 3 days, like
Yeah.
3 days work, 4 days off.
Yeah. Well, here in Romania, I'm not sure, but in Italy they had this thing called siesta. Like siesta was
There's
where,
a real thing.
yeah, it's real. Like from I want to say from I think it kind of depends on your job, but from 12:30 to maybe like 3:30,
That's
you
a
had to,
long
like that
time.
was your break. Like
That's a
that was your
long
break to go walk the dog, go eat lunch, have aperitivo, sit down, and that was your me time to kind of get yourself together. And you would come back and finish the last leg of work. So that just think it was. It's funny because coming from the States, we're so big on availability. We want to go to the store and get food right here, right now. No stores are ever closed except, certain times on holidays in the States. Everything is always open. So being in Italy or in a small city to where your grocery store is closed on Sunday, you know, it's closed on Sunday. Like only thing that's closed on Sundays in the United States is Chick-fil-A. But there's
time.
but there's some countries where you can't even go to the grocery stores on Sundays
Yeah.
because I mean that's just that they take that day off. That's just them. Or siesta during that time frame, there are no grocery shopping. And for us, it would kind of be bad because we would finish our first practice and we couldn't go grocery shopping unless during that time frame because
Oh,
everything was closed. So we had to either get it the day before or get everything you needed for that week and kind of get yourself situated and then be able to kind of go back after practice. But yeah, the work culture in Europe is different.
yeah.
I think the emphasis and like you said, the priority isn't focused on money. They understand they need the money just to kind of to live an everyday life, but it's not like they're chasing it. I feel like oddly enough, just to see the amount that they don't have and the amount that they use and still have so much joy in their households, like it's incredible. It really is incredible, and that kind of changed me because just growing up, like you said, my parents they were hard workers. Your parents are hard workers, and seeing that work ethic, and for my parents, I would see it, and it wouldn't always pay off in dividends. It wouldn't always pay off in just the amount of money, but like we would still have this energy in our house to where it was joy in the house. Or my mom loves baking. She really loves baking, so she would bake cakes for different people and would give them to different people, and that joy that she just got from giving it to those people. But at the same time, more and more people would find her through her joy, through her giving that out. So the money would find her. She wouldn't be chasing the money. The money would always find her just from the fact that she would just be doing something she loved. And I and
Oh,
and that kind of worked on me. That idea of that sometimes you don't have to chase it. If you're doing something that you love, it's gonna find you. You'll attract it yourself if you're focusing on what you want to do and working hard at what you want to do or whatever it is, whatever you have in your task is, it's going to find you one way or another. It may not find you, $1 million may not find you tomorrow. But if you work and keep working and keep working, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, you may have found $1 million,
yeah.
and without even chasing it, if you just continue to do what you've loved into the whole time. So that whole idea of just kind of switching it over um, helped me with the basketball. I started off with that U.S. mentality, I guess you can say, when it
Yeah.
came to chasing the check. And then once I kind of lived through it and kind of had my ups and downs, my hardships with chasing it, I stopped chasing it. I started finding the joy, and then it will find me. I will have great seasons, and then the next year you would get paid, more and more and more and more. So just finding that joy and following through with that, and that's kind of where I am. That's what I tell most players nowadays is to just find your joy and follow that. Go somewhere you want to see, a country that you want to live in, a culture that you've never dreamed about, experiencing. Go there, live that, and then everything else will find you.
Oh, wow. That's powerful and transformational and so relevant outside of basketball.
It's there. It's there.
It's life lessons, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I've been taught a lot.
Well, I know that the coaching and the opportunity to mentor is going to find you here soon. And
So
you as a dad, I cannot wait to see the adventures that you go on with your family. I cannot wait to see what the next chapter is. I'm so excited, and you are so deserving of all of the success that finds you here soon. And, you know, I know that I'm featuring you in the Unstoppable campaign here soon. So I guess my last question for you is, what does unstoppable mean to you? Because when I hear your story, when I interact with you, you come across as somebody that is just absolutely unstoppable in all aspects of life. So for you, what does being unstoppable mean?
Being unstoppable means under, having a master level of persistency, like being persistent to the point of, like Yoda level of persistency. I mean, like like you are Master Yoda of just keep going. Because I mean, you have to be persistent to be unstoppable. Nothing stops you. I mean, that's kind of what it is. So your persistency has to be on that level. You have to understand that it's going to be difficult, but that can't hold you back. I mean, we all have bumps and bruises. We're all going to have kind of different potholes that we hit, on our journey, different side roads that we go through. But we have to understand that you have to keep going if that's what you want. You have to keep going if that's what you want. If whatever your goal is, whatever you have kind of at the top of at the top of your mountain, you have to keep climbing there. You have to keep climbing. Like no matter whatever hits you, whatever comes your way, you'll get past it with time. It may take you a few steps back. It may take you the longer route, but you have to keep going with it. Like, I talk about basketball a lot, and that's just my life, but every little boy's dream is the NBA. Most kids, most college kids, they give up on the NBA dream if they don't get a workout or if they don't get invited to some camps,
Yeah.
or most kids give up on I was a basketball manager. I left that out of my story, but I played 7th grade basketball. I got cut 8th grade and 9th grade during my growth spurt. I got cut. So I was a manager. So I was washing the jerseys. I was sweeping the floors. I was doing all the small things that nobody did. Everybody else was out there playing the game. So I was the manager, but that didn't stop me. I wanted to keep playing. I wanted to be around my friends. I wanted to play the game of basketball. So keep going. Like if the goal is to play, and that my goal wasn't to be a professional, my goal was just to make the team. Like that was my only goal was to make the team with my friends so that I can be one of the guys in the locker room with my practice jersey on and kind of have games and get out of school early. Like that was the only goal. So having that persistency and really kind of understanding that you have to have that. You're going to take your bumps and bruises. You're going to get hit. You're going to get knocked down. But to truly be unstoppable, you understand that you have to be persistent. You have to be persistent. Persistency also comes with patience. It comes with poise. Like you gain so many things while learning and I guess you say, learning and mastering this persistency. But that's unstoppable to me. Keep going. Whatever happens, just keep it going, keep it pushing, and you'll eventually get there. Especially if you put your head down. Just put your head down, keep barreling through things, and when you look up, you're going to be where you want to be. That's it.
That's beautiful. Well, you are truly unstoppable. And as we bring this podcast to a close, what is immediately next for you, and where can people connect with you?
Immediately next is first my baby boy.
Unnamed baby boy, which we will soon
Unnamed
know
baby
the name.
boy. We're gonna just call him War Machine right now,
War
or Iron
Machine.
Man. But he's next, and then from there, finishing out the season and getting back this summer to get back to mentoring. Really kind of getting a foot into really really molding some kids around the Nashville area. I really want to be able to kind of get my hands on and kind of really get my reach out there this summer, and that's really it. And then from there on to the next season, somewhere in this wild world, to continue out my basketball career. But you can find me on Instagram at Tony B. Easley Jr. You can also follow me at theleveraged.com and the leveraged on my Instagram handle is the leveraged. And that's it.
And we'll do a whole different podcast on the leveraged and what that means. So people stay tuned for the second episode with Tony, but we'll do that later.
That's a little deeper. That's a little bit deeper.
That's a big one. That's a deep one. We're going to dedicate an entire podcast to that. Sound good to you?
That would be great, actually. That'd be awesome. I would appreciate that.
Heck yeah. There's a lot there. There's a reason why I didn't want to get too in the weeds with it, because I knew that it was going to be an expansive conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. Well, I hope you, the listeners, enjoyed Tony's journey and that you will continue to come back to this podcast and become inspired by the stories and empowered by the strategies shared so you can level up, unlock your true potential, and enjoy your own journey. I am so grateful for your attention, and I hope that you got something special out of this episode. Make sure that you follow Tony on Instagram and The Leveraged, and please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to tell your teammates and friends about this podcast. And if you want to see us interact and make ridiculous dunk faces, you can watch this episode on YouTube. And you can join us on the journey online at www.BeTheWinningElement.com. Until next time, train with purpose, play with passion, and seize the day every day.